Hello everyone, today, I will introduce the knowledge related to material flow cost accounting. Material flow cost accounting's preface has 5 significant meanings: promote, expand, coordinate, originate, and guide. Then in this video, we will explain the definition of material flow cost accounting and an overview of the material flow cost accounting. Material refers to raw materials, auxiliary materials, parts, catalysts, or components used to manufacture products. Any materials not part of the final product are considered a material loss. This is followed by the flow section, where MFCA tracks all input materials flowing through the production process and measures products and material losses in physical units using the following formula: input equals product plus material loss. And finally, the cost accounting section. Under MFCA, materials within the organization flow and inventory are tracked and quantified in physical units, and associated costs are then allocated. According to the MFCA, 4 costs are quantified: material costs, system costs, energy costs, and waste management costs. Next, we will focus on the first and second definitions. The actual costing of material loss can be achieved through the cost accounting, including a broader range of factors and the discovery that even when scrap is sold as a resource, the overall loss of value can be much higher than you might think. Secondly, this approach to environmental management accounting is achieved by improving transparency and supporting organizational management of material and energy flows and associated costs. Because management processes are process engineering, production planning, quality control, product design, and supply chain management. The following will introduce the objective and principles of MFCA. MFCA aims to increase the transparency of material flows, energy use, associated costs, and environmental impacts, and to support organizational decision-making through the information obtained through MFCA. Information obtained through MFCA to support managerial decision-making can be achieved by following the 4 core principles of the MFCA approach. The first is to understand material flow and energy usage, at which point a statistical survey of material flow, consumption, and energy usage and consumption is required before MFCA. The second is linking physical and monetary data. When it comes to physical accounting, organizations should attempt to track all physical inputs and outputs. Ensure that no significant amounts of energy, water, or other materials are left unaccounted for, and cross-check with the accounting department's financial data. The third ensures the accuracy, completeness, and comparability of biological data, where quantitative performance indicators need to be defined, such as total direct and indirect GHG. Emissions by weight, total water withdrawals by source, amount, the material used by weight and volume, and percentage of sold product recycled by category. Finally, estimating and allocating the cost of material loss. MFCA categorizes resources strictly into positive products and negative products or non-product output. Next, we will introduce the 4 essential elements of MFCA: quantity center, material balance, cost calculation, and material flow model. The first is to introduce fundamental element 1: quantity center. The quantity center is usually 1 or more unit processes. The data center depends on the amount of material loss determined in the production unit. Quantity centers within MFCA boundaries can be based on existing production management information, cost center records. The second is fundamental element 2: material balance. Material balance requires that the total output is equal to the total input, and any inventory changes in the quantity center should be considered. This requires that all materials entering and leaving the quantity center be balanced. To achieve material balance, it is necessary to confirm material input and output and compare quantities of material input and output and inventory changes. Ideally, all materials within the scope of the MFCA should be tracked and quantified. This is followed by an introduction to fundamental element 3: cost calculation. Cost calculation is by allocating costs for all products and material losses. The material balance of inputs and outputs is associated with monetary units. It includes 4 parts: material costs, energy costs, system costs, and waste management costs. Among them, the total cost of the quantity center is allocated to the output loss, according to the proportion of the input becoming a product and the proportion of becoming material. Finally, there is an explanation of fundamental element for the material flow model, which shows all volume centers where materials are transformed, stored, or used and the flow of these materials within the system boundaries. The detailed process is shown in the figure below. Next, we will introduce the timeline of MFCA. MFCA was first proposed in Germany in 1980 and was widely publicized in the German environmental protection and media circles. In 2000 and 2001, the Japanese government adopted MFCA and achieved remarkable results in major Japanese companies such as Nitto Denko and Canon. In 2010, MFCA was strongly supported by the Japanese government and became an essential way for Japan to develop its economy and environmental protection. In 2011, the International Organization for Standardization released detailed guidelines for MFCA, named ISO 14051-2011. In 2020, MFCA will be developed and summarized. Like everything else, MFCA came about for a reason. The first reason is that MFCA was developed to find a tool that can support environmental management and ecological control of rivers. Secondly, market and regulation require more robust management practices, and MFCA enables greater transparency of logistics and associated costs. Materials. I believe you have a basic understanding of MFCA through the previous video, so let's try this little quiz. The question is, which of the following options is not part of the principles of MFCA? Option A. Understand material flow and energy use. Option B. Accurate and efficient allocation of human resources. Option C. Understand material flow and energy use. Option D. Ensure accuracy, completeness, and comparability of physical data. The correct answer is B. Did you get it right? So this is the end of all the videos. If you want to know more interesting knowledge about MFCA, you can watch the videos of the rest of my friends. Bye.